It's the Soul Fantasy Show. Soul Fantasy Show. Hey, it's a Soul Fantasy Show live for April 5th, 2020. Going over DraftKings 1-game slate and Fanduel 6-game slate. Fanduel's back. They're back again. We're going to go over the top plays today. We got Giannis, Harden, and Doncic right there off the bat. Now, Giannis can get you a 65, 66, 54. He can get you a 75. He has a good probability of that. He has a 31% chance to get 60 plus. I guarantee he's getting 60 plus. 30% is good enough for me. And he's the top stud of the day, Giannis. As usual, of course, he's always the top stud on FanDuel. But as we see, Harden has a 35% chance to get 60 plus fantasy points. So he could get you an 83, an 87. He could get you a 50. He could slump and get you a 36, but I really doubt that. So now as you go to the percentages, 0% chance he's not getting a 15. He only has a 5% chance to get 30 fantasy points, 18% chance to get 30 to 45. So most likely he's getting between 45 and 82 fantasy points. So for 11-2, with all those other options, with all those guys you can put in, you throw them right in there. Doncic, 29% chance to get 60 plus fantasy points. For the studs, we want to see high percent chances of getting 60 plus fantasy points. Now, it goes down for Westbrook, as does his price, because he is not as dynamic as these top three studs. Neither is Drummond, 16%. But yet Drummond has a very good 40% chance to get 60 fantasy points. So if you want to save salary and just not put two studs in, you will put Drummond and somebody like Giannis, or Drummond and Harden. You could put Drummond and Butler. He's not going to get you 60 plus fantasy points, but he'll get you 50 fantasy points for 8-6. Now you have Tatum. He's projected a little bit better than Butler, so you're going to go his way. Bam could get you a nice solid amount of points. So could Porzingis. Now you got DeMar DeRozan. He only has an 18% chance of getting 45 to 60 fantasy points. So as we saw Harden, he had an 18% chance to get. So what was Harden? 18% chance to get 30 to 45 points. So if you think Harden's going to break out of that and get to that 42% zone, then you would think DeRozan would break down to that 30 to 45% zone. So 30 to 45% 30 to 45 point zone, which has 57% chance. So that's his take with the Sims. And as the same goes with Paul, he's going to get 30 to 45 fantasy points, most likely. So then you move on, and there's Randle. We talked about him yesterday. He's a good option today. He's pretty cheap. He's only 7-2. And, I mean, I'm definitely going there. Definitely going to Middleton. He has a 50 chance to get you 45 fantasy points for only $7K. So you just throw guys like that in your lineup. And, I mean, Kemba Walker might shit the bed and get you a 12. So, I mean, I'd rather put Middleton over Kemba. Love most likely won't shit the bed, but he's not getting you over 60 fantasy points. He might get 55 fantasy points if he's freaking really lucky. But I'm not feeling too lucky on him today. So then we have a little bit lower tier, Hayward, Rose. Now these guys are going to... Now Rose, somebody like Rose or Peyton or Hayward are more likely to get you 30 fantasy points. So you're getting what you're paying for. Schroeder and Sexton will most likely get you 30 fantasy points. These guys are not getting high-end points, so they're going to somebody you plug in with your studs. So let's go over our first. Let's just see some of the low-end guys. Blake Griffin, very low. He's not getting over 45 fantasy points. No, he is not. I don't know why he's so cheap, but he isn't doing it with the computers. So we got to learn these low guys. You see these low-end tier guys? Those are just guys that you're just taking a risk. These are punt plays. All these guys right down here are punt plays. Guys that I don't trust, that I would really not prefer you play. But let's see if what the lineup optimizer says. Let's hold on 1 second. Sorry, that was the player trends. We'll go over that someday. All right, let's go over this lineup optimization for Fanduel, and then we'll go over that DraftKings stuff. So there we go. We got most of the guys I talked about on upper tier level. They are not. You don't really need to throw those pump plays in unless you just really want to stack with studs. Stack studs, So say I want to get some studs in. I want to get, you want to put Randle in there. You could do that. You want to put Drummond in, like I said earlier. Now you're over salary. You want Luka in. Now you have to really go down, and you can punt out and just put somebody really bad in there. That could do something like Dragic. Then you have to we said we wanted DeRozan in, but Hayward isn't necessarily the best play in the world. So then you would put somebody crappy in there. Then you would have to put somebody crappy in there. Then you would have to keep downgrading constantly to get these studs stacked. So this is what happens when you start to stack studs. You see that you have to play some strange guys like Alfonso McKinney or DeRozan. So most of the time, most people are going to balance their lineups out. And it doesn't really matter if you stack or not, because these guys can be monsters stacking or without stacking. Now, see, it's starting to generate some cool lineups, and they're just constantly putting Randle in there. And there's Luka, but I have not seen Harden yet. There's Harden. So if we want to put Luka and Harden in, we're $3,000 off salary. So where can we cut the salary? You're going to have to cut it at Tatum. And look, boom, there's Blake Griffin. I mean, I don't think Blake's going to do too good, and you cut somebody really horrible, but now you have those two studs, and you didn't really downgrade that much because your upgrade is guaranteed to hammer shit in. All right, let's go over to DraftKings. Real quick, lineups. It's a one-game slate as usual. San Antonio versus Phoenix. Devin Booker is a top stud of the slate. We got Aldridge, who I'm not particularly fond of, but, here's some lineups for you. Just say for DraftKings thing going for you. Some days we'll do DraftKings. Some day we'll specify with Fanduel and go heavier with either one. And you tell me what you like better, what you prefer. Please, if I'm worthy enough, subscribe to this channel, please, and click like if you want. Just subscribe, so we can get better results and more data in. I want you to become predicting monsters. Predictability. Think about quantum physics. Think about being in two places at the same time, or going from one place to another and not being at one place. You have to predict that. You have to predict things. Be a predicting machine. Be able to jump universe from universe, one multiverse to another multiverse. Think, if you're doing that, what changed? What have you noticed that changed? What changes do you have to adjust to predict something? Be a predicting machine. That's what I want you to do. All right, it's the Soul Fan Show.